Well, hello friends, good afternoon. It is Tuesday, July 27th, and we're in a little bit different place today. We're actually in my office, working from home today, and I had a little extra time this afternoon, and I thought I would let you guys know what we were working on today, doing a little bit of a restoration project on an original Triumph TR6 radio. As you can see here, I have an original Leyland radio, which is probably the most common radio you would find in a Triumph. Over here, I have what's left, bits and pieces of a Triumph AM radio with the Triumph logo on it in pretty bad shape. And I've cannibalized both of them, parts, pieces, and everything to try to come up with a better rendition. And this one here is far from perfect, but I think this is going to be our keeper. I originally had this piece here that was the cover plate and in chrome, but it was very, very badly pitted. And I was able to get one off of another radio. So I'm basically cannibalizing a couple of radios to see if I can put together a nice factory original. This is actually a very interesting one. This is an AM FM. It's got the 2-button FM and the 3-button AM, although I am missing one. And it is the smaller style that was really designed more for the Triumph TR6 in the early 70s to mid 70s. I do like the logo on this one. The logo is actually in excellent shape and the dial's in very, very good shape. And we're gonna test it and see if it works. So more to come. All right, so one may ask, how am I gonna test these radios? Well, these radios are extremely simple. I've got a black power wire here coming out of the side along with 2 speaker wires. I have a small speaker set up here, and I will need to ground it to something and give it power. I have a small 12-volt adapter here that has a pigtail on it, and I will be placing that in the back to ground it, which I've done. And then I will be placing the power wire here on my hot lead, and that's what will power it up. You might be asking, well, how will you get any type of signal? Very simple. I've got a coat hanger, and believe it or not, a coat hanger fits up there perfectly. All right, so we have this radio kind of MacGyvered up, so to speak. I've got a coat hanger that I'm using for an antenna. I was too lazy to go dig through my boxes in the garage. I have the speaker wires hooked up. I've got hot to hot, and I have the radio grounded in the back, and this is plugged into the wall. So I do not recommend using anything but 12 volt. You could get seriously injured. So let's see what happens. Let's turn it on. Okay, so we've got sound. Looks like it's a local station. Let's see, I can tune something in here. Okay, local radio station here. Local station. So, yeah, the guy that just did the Super Bowl. And so, seems to be working a bit staticky. But that might be a ground issue. Also might just need a good cleaning. I'm going to take it apart and clean it up really good. I do notice that I have no light. Prior to this video, I had taken and tested this, and I knew it worked. So the deck was a bit stacked, but I wanted to make sure the light worked because that was an important element for me. And the light does not work, so I ordered on Amazon a couple of lights. The light itself actually has a bluish green tint, very similar to the color that you would see on your dash, kind of a greenish tint on your dash. So the bulbs that I'm getting in are just clear bulbs, so I'm not sure if I'll like it or not. We have plans for what we're going to do with this radio. So far so good. It works. Probably needs a good cleaning. and we'll take it from there to see what we can do. So you might be wondering, what's the reason for all this work? What are we doing here? So this is Cole's center console, which is in excellent shape. We've refurbished it, tried to fix any of the peels and anything that was peeling away, re-glued those, and gave it a very light paint job. And what you see here is actually probably from a TR4, TR4A, or 250. This is an old AM Triumph radio. It's actually in fantastic shape, but it's really not correct for Cole's 73 Triumph TR6. So as you saw in the last video, we are trying to restore an AM FM radio. So this new radio will go into here, and a few notes on the condition of the radio itself. If you notice, you've got the 2 FM frequency and then 3 AM. The one button's completely missing and the other buttons are in pretty sad shape. So I will attempt to replace those. I was able to find a donor AM FM radio online that is in pretty good shape but not working, good cosmetic condition. As you can see here, got a little rust happening here on the top, on the cover. And in case you're wanting to know what brand this is, it does say made in Japan. I'm going to guess, as I've seen many of these say AudioVox on them, I'm going to guess possibly it was made by AudioVox for Triumph. Again, you might be scratching your head saying, why not just put in a brand new Bluetooth head unit, which would perform fantastic and sound great? Well, that's actually the plan. What we are going to do is we will put this in the center console almost as a dummy. We will actually make it work. We will put a speaker in and it will work and function, but we will mount a Bluetooth head unit in the glove box where nobody can see it, and that will be the regular radio for Cole's car. My TR6, the one you see here in the picture, that one's actually at my buddy's shop having this same application done. So I will try to get some video of that once it's completed and some sound. But as you can see, cosmetically, some parts and pieces, the knobs are actually in fantastic shape. The chrome bezels are in good shape. I cleaned up last night the main chrome bezel. Things that you don't see that I'll know about is just the rust here. I'm going to clean all that up, make it look nice. And as soon as the donor radio comes in from the eBay purchase, I will be replacing some, if not all, of these buttons. The buttons do actually work. They're a little bit of a pain in the butt to get them off, but doable. So let's start taking this thing apart and start the cleaning process. All right, here is my 73 TR6, and I wanted to show everybody what we've done with the radio. This will coincide with what we're going to do with Cole's setup on his 73 TR6. So I had a Pioneer Bluetooth stereo set up in the glove box. I'll shut that. And here I have the kidneys that hold the speakers here. I have the factory original radio, which actually still works. So I'm going to turn that on in a second. And over here is the other speaker. And I will shoot some video so everybody can see what it sounds like here in a second. But I just wanted to keep the factory original look. I happen to be very, very lucky to have the original radio of the car that still has the Triumph logo on it, and it actually works really well, but certainly doesn't have the sound quality of today's modern stereo. So let me get this hooked up. So for you purists out there who have to have the stock radio, I actually do have the stock radio. And as you can see here, it is lit up and it's running. It's running on one speaker, which is, I believe, the way this. So it gives me a little bit of sound. And if I decide to go factory original, I can. Or if I decide to use the Bluetooth setup I have with the new speakers, I can do it that way. So my goal is to try to make sure that it still looks stock. So anyway, thanks for watching. Okay folks, so here we are in the next step of the process. We have a light that's completely gone. No good because I took it out, and I was able to find a Hella 3898 bulb, and I'm going to be installing this bulb in, and if everything goes properly, we should be able to get light inside the radio, so we'll see what happens. Here we are, folks. We have light. Yes, there is light coming from here. How about that, huh? Yep, that cost me $7, and I got two of them. I got one as a backup. I'll put it back together. Let's see what it looks like. All right, here we go. The moment of truth. The new light is installed. Let's make sure it works. And voila, we have light. Houston, we do not have problems. We have light. Now, it is not the same bluish green tinted light, but I kind of like it. Looks good, nice and bright, and I'm very happy with it. So we'll call the light job complete. Okay folks, so yesterday we received our eBay purchase, which was a radio. This radio is going to be a donor radio for the radio we're working on for Cole's 73 TR6. The irony of this is that this is an old audio Vox, not sure if you can see that, made in Japan. Here's the irony. This radio is the exact same radio that I have in my 73 TR6. The only difference is my TR6 has a Triumph logo going across this space right here, this empty space. Says Triumph. And my knobs are a little bit different. But other than that, it's the same style. With the 3 FM buttons and 2 AM buttons. Conversely, on the radio we're storing for Cole, we have 2 FM buttons and 3 AM buttons, so I can only deduct from that that the radio that we're restoring for Cole is probably an older radio, as FM probably became more popular in the latter part of the 70s. So that's just me with absolutely no scientific fact other than just trying to put reasonable deduction together. But the only thing that I'm a little perplexed about is that this actually is a pretty nice looking radio. It could be cleaned up. I hate to cannibalize it, but I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and use some of the push button letters that are just need to be cleaned, but they're definitely in better shape than the ones in Cole's car. And I'm going to keep this radio as a backup in case anything goes wrong with the radio in my 73 TR6. So let's go ahead and see if we can get this thing tested. Okay, I've got this radio all hooked up. I've got my makeshift coat hanger antenna. I have my power and ground, and I have my small speaker set up. Let's see what happens here. Let's turn it on. Well, it looks like we've got some light. I hear some static, and let's turn this thing up. Okay, I hear something here. Okay, sounds like a little foreigner. Okay, so it works. Got a light. The push buttons all work. I did test those. A little staticky here in the volume, but I can probably fix that up with the electronics cleaner. This one has an interesting setting. It's got either in or out. I'm not exactly sure what that's for, but anyway, maybe some sort of a local versus non-local number. It's going right now. So it works. So now I'll have to decide what I want to do with this. Keep it complete or cannibalize it, which makes it much harder. I'm a bit old-fashioned, and I really do like not tearing things up if they work and they're complete. So I'll have to decide what I want to do with this radio. All right, so I took this opportunity to clean up this audio box, AM/FM stereo. It came out really nice. I used a little bit of steel wool and some window cleaner, and I did take the opportunity to go ahead and do the electronics cleaner. And as you can see, it came out really nice. So I think instead of cannibalizing this radio, I'm just going to keep it on the shelf for a future project. Or if I come across somebody who wants to barter for something that I really need and something they'd like to have. So I think we'll keep looking to see if we can find maybe AM/FM radio that's not in very good shape that we could use and cannibalize. So we'll move on to the next opportunity.